The Total Money Makeover. You woke up this morning. And before you even opened your eyes, you already felt it. That weight. Not the weight of sleep. The weight of numbers. How much is left? Did the rent go through? Is the card close to the limit again? You get up. You go to work. You earn money. And somehow, by the 20th of the month, it's already gone. You're not lazy. You're not careless. You're not stupid. You're just doing what nobody taught you. And today, that changes. Introducing the philosophy. Dave Ramsey wrote The Total Money Makeover for one reason. Not to impress you with theories. Not to sound smart. But because he had lost everything. He built a real estate business. Made millions. Then borrowed more. And lost it all. His marriage nearly broke. His bank accounts were empty. Collectors were calling. And sitting in that wreckage, he made a promise to himself. I will learn how money actually works. And then I will teach everyone who will listen. What came out of that journey is one of the most powerful financial systems ever written. And it starts with one brutal truth. We buy things we don't need, with money we don't have, to impress people we don't even like. Everything in this book starts there. Section 1, The Myth of Normal. Here's something nobody says at a dinner table. Normal is broke. But it's true. And here's how it happened to almost everyone. It started small. A student loan for the degree. A car payment because everyone has one. One credit card, just for emergencies. You didn't feel it at first. Because the water was cool. There's an old story about a frog. Drop a frog into boiling water, it jumps out. But place it in cool water, and slowly turn up the heat. It adjusts. It stays. Until it's too late. That's what happened to most of us with money. Now you have 4 cards instead of 1. The car loan you took temporarily is 3 years old. The subscriptions multiply. The minimum payments eat Tuesday. The water is boiling. And society calls this a lifestyle. Dave Ramsey calls it a trap. And here's the line that will either comfort you or disturb you, but either way, you need to hear it. Your financial situation right now is not a result of bad luck. It's a result of decisions. And decisions can be changed. That's not blame. That's the most hopeful sentence in this book. Section 2, The Truth About Debt. Picture this. It's salary day. The notification hits your phone at 9 a.m. You feel, for one moment, wealthy. By 9:15, the bank takes the car payment automatically. By noon, the credit card minimum clears. By evening, rent goes out. And then you look at what's left. And realize the money you worked 160 hours to earn was never really yours. It belonged to everyone you owed. This is the quiet violence of debt. It doesn't scream. It doesn't threaten. It just arrives every month, takes what it's owed, and leaves you with the remainder. Now here's the counterintuitive truth that will bother you when you first hear it. Most people who look wealthy are not. The person driving the luxury car, statistically, is making monthly payments on it while their savings account sits empty. The person in the designer outfit may have bought it on credit at 36% annual interest. Wealth and the appearance of wealth are not the same thing. In fact, they are often opposites. The quiet engineer driving a used car, packing lunch, living in a modest apartment. That person is often worth more than the one performing success on social media. Dave Ramsey calls it the debt myth. The myth says debt is a tool. The myth says smart people leverage it. The myth says the rewards points are worth it. But every credit card company on earth is a profitable business. And they don't make money when you win. Section 3, The Baby Steps. Here's where most financial books abandon you. They spend 3 chapters telling you how bad debt is. Then say, build wealth and move on. Dave Ramsey does something different. He gives you a map. 7 steps. In order. No skipping. He calls them the baby steps. Not because they're easy, but because you take them one at a time. Baby step 1, $1,000 emergency fund. Save $1,000. Not $10,000. Not 3 months of expenses. $1,000. Here's why it has to be this specific. The moment you decide to change your finances, life will test you. The tire will burst on a Wednesday. The tooth will crack on a Friday. The phone screen will shatter the weekend you decided to finally get serious. Without that $1,000 sitting there, you will reach for the credit card. And you'll be back to square one before you even started. 1,000 is not a goal. It's a shield. Go get it. Sell something you don't use. Pick up 1 extra shift. Do whatever it takes. But build the shield first. Baby step 2, the debt snowball. Now, destroy your debt. Everything except your home. List every debt you have from smallest balance to largest. Ignore the interest rates. You'll hear that advice challenged everywhere. But here's what Dave Ramsey understood that mathematicians miss. Personal finance is not math. It's behavior. And behavior responds to momentum. When you pay off that first small debt, maybe it's a 15,000 Indian rupees phone loan, maybe it's a small store card. Something happens in you. You feel it. That moment when a debt disappears creates a psychological shift that no spreadsheet can replicate. You suddenly believe you can do this. Now roll every payment from that cleared debt onto the next one. The snowball gathers speed. Dave Ramsey has spoken to thousands of people who started this process buried in debt, no hope, minimum payments eating half their check. And within 18 months were completely free of everything except their home. Not because they got a raise. Because they got angry enough to stop accepting debt as normal. Baby step 3, the full wall. Now rebuild the emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses. This isn't your vacation fund. This isn't where you pull from when something nice appears. This is your wall between you and catastrophe. Imagine, you lose your job in January. Without this wall, you panic immediately. You miss payments. You go back into debt. The whole system collapses. With this wall, you wake up in January knowing you have 6 months to find a better situation. You negotiate from strength, not desperation. Most people laugh at emergency funds. Most people also collapse when emergencies arrive. Build the wall. Baby steps 4, 5, 6, build wealth. Once you have no debt and a full wall. Now the money you were sending to creditors comes back to you. Every month. And now you direct it forward. 15% into retirement investments. Education savings if you have children. Extra payments toward the home until it's paid. Here's something that sounds impossible until you do the math. If you invested what most households pay in car loans and credit cards every month for 25 years, you would retire wealthy. The money was always there. It was just flowing in the wrong direction. Baby step 7, live like no one else. You've heard Dave's phrase by now. Live like no one else, so later you can live like no one else. The first part is the sacrifice. The second part is the reward. You drove the used car. You skipped the upgrade. You cooked when they ordered out. And the compound interest didn't care whether you felt deprived. It just kept growing. Now the home is paid. The debt is gone. The investments are real. And you can be more generous than you ever imagined possible. Not performing generosity. Objection break. I hear what you're thinking right now. Easy for him to say. Dave doesn't know my situation. My rent already takes half my check. I have kids. Minimum payments take the rest. There's nothing left to cut. Okay. Then don't cut. Add 1 extra hour of work a week. One thing in your house you could sell today. One side job for 3 months, not forever. Just until the smallest debt dies. That's not a lifestyle change. That's a temporary mission. The mission ends when the first debt does. And the moment that first one dies, you will have more to work with than you do right now. Not because your income changed. Because one payment disappeared. That's where it starts. Not perfection. Section 4, The Invisible Enemy. There's an enemy in this story that Dave Ramsey talks about more than debt, more than bad investments, more than low income. And it lives in your phone. Your friend just posted a vacation. Your colleague mentioned their new car. Someone in your building upgraded everything. And suddenly, your perfectly functional life feels like failure. This is not jealousy. This is a deeper problem. It's the belief that your worth as a person is visible in what you own. Here's the truth that will restructure how you see the world. The millionaire next door is boring. Research consistently shows that most genuinely wealthy people live in modest homes, drive unremarkable cars, and would not stand out in a room. The people who stand out, the ones performing success publicly, are often the ones quietly drowning. You cannot see someone's net worth from the outside. You can only see their spending. And spending is the opposite of wealth. Stop performing your finances for an audience. Your bank account doesn't care who's watching. Section 5, The budget is not a prison. The word budget makes people feel like something is being taken away. But here's the reframe. A budget is not a cage. A budget is a decision made in advance. Without it, your money goes where your emotions take it. Exhausted on Thursday. Delivery. Stressed on Friday. New purchase. Bored on Sunday. Scrolling and buying. And at the end of the month, you stare at the statement confused. Every single time. But here's what actually happens when you give every rupee a job before the month starts. The guilt disappears. Because when you've already planned for food, for fun, for savings, spending the planned money doesn't feel like failure. It feels like following a decision you made when you were clear-headed. The peace of a budget is not the peace of restriction. It's the peace of control. You stop wondering. You stop the 2 a.m. anxiety calculation. You already know. And you chose it. Closing transformation. Nobody becomes wealthy overnight. There is no hack. No secret investment. No one conversation that fixes it. There is only this. Small decisions. Repeated. For years. The person who starts today will not see the finish line this month. But in 1 year, they will feel lighter. In 3 years, they will look back and not recognize who they used to be. And in 10 years, they will live a life that their stressed, exhausted, earlier self could not have imagined. Not because they got lucky. Because they chose differently when choosing differently was hard. That's all this is. One decision. Today.